Hi there, this is Women in Law podcast, and it is proudly sponsored by Her Dream Initiative. This podcast is to challenge, inform, and inspire you as a female who desires to thrive in the legal field. So make sure you stay tuned. We have amazing content and we have opportunities to listen to women who are doing fantastic in the legal field. You could also follow us on Instagram at Her Dream Initiative.
You decided to switch, your career in a sense because from what I know, you're a law student. So, what happened? What inspired that change? Yeah.
Okay, I would say for me, my story really started way before I was in faculty of law. So something I'm talking about on my LinkedIn page. But initially, when I was like in senior secondary school, I was actually a science student. So I was doing sciences. I was studying to become, the next Ben Carson. But somewhere somehow, even at that age, I knew that wasn't my really what I wanted to do to my life. And so it was FX skills when I knew. It's not as easy as I'm saying it, right? But I walked into my principal's office and told him that I wanted to change from being like a science student to an art student. And for 3 days, I convinced him, well, right? He said yes. And then I pretty much dropped all like my science subjects. I was doing physics, I was doing chemistry, I was doing government, and then pretty much, that's what I did. And I would say the rest is history, right? So I pretty much did that, finished in secondary school. Thankfully, got into university pretty much immediately I was done with secondary school. And obviously, we all know that. I wouldn't say I felt some pressure to study law, but I had a lot going for me already. I mean, I worked, I already, switched already from trying to become, the neurosurgeon that, I thought I wanted to become. And so at that time, it felt like, the only option is law. And then I took that option. But I would say that I did not regret it because the truth is, law gave me opportunities and resources that I might not have had if I did not pursue law. So law, I would say in some way, law gave me international development. Law gave me women's rights, and law gave me, access to people that, mean so much to me today. So I definitely, I'm definitely glad that I took that law option. So being in the civil society, and civil society, our name is like the name that the name, let's get on to the means Garden of the White or so. I might be wrong, but I remember that we used to call Garden of the White. It was truly a Garden of the White, and I got exposed to so much information. On my goodness. I started to about NGOs and all of these really cool stuff. And then I think it was year 2 or I think it was year 2, I can't remember that I did my first NGO. And my goodness, it was a mess. Because I was ill, I didn't understand what was happening, I didn't prepare well. So I wouldn't say that really led me to understand, okay, there's something called international development. It wasn't that wasn't what I didn't understand, I was lost, I didn't know, I was doing the best points, but I was lost.
Wow.
And I think it was my 3rd year, I think it was my 3rd year. I can't really remember the date per se, but I know the next year, and I decided to do LM1 again. And this time I was prepared. Like, I read up everything I was supposed to read up on. Like, I knew exactly what I was going to do. I did my research. And even for my research, I started to know that this thing is very interesting. It's not really law proper. But, even at that time, I'll be honest and say that I did not know that it was called international development. In fact, that time, we used to erroneously call it international law. And I think a lot of people think international law is what we do, and not necessarily, actually. I mean, international law is some part of it. I didn't really, like almost like a law student. I just thought, I did everything and I enjoyed it. I'm interested in international law and diplomacy. So I didn't really know what it was.
Wow.
I know that some people will be, I'm not one who are listening to this are like short fired. I know. But a lot of people just think international law, international diplomacy, and they don't really understand
what it is. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so at that point, I just knew that international law sounds very interesting. And then the next step for, I would say, my journey was being matched with a mentor. So I was matched with a mentor, I think, in 2018. Amazing how much we had, really opened my mind. I remember the first day we had this meetup in this place, a father-boy failure. I can never forget in my life, actually. We just asking me questions about my life, about my goals, career, all of these things. And I remember telling her that I was very interested in the UN, but I didn't really, have the words for it. And she actually was the first person that ever said international development to me. Like, I'm sure you might not remember, because it's not something I say all the time. But she actually said that word, international development. And when I got home, I was like, what is international development? I'm going to go and Google it. I used to have the pandemic. During the pandemic, I really had time to really immerse myself in other things. I had a reputation in food for being someone that really cared about women. So even though most of my internships and all of these things weren't specific to women, but in 2018, so in 2019, I was opportuned to be on the UN Women Committee for 2 different MUNs. So I went to LMU in New York, and I was in the UN Women Committee representing Pakistan. So I really, really got to work on women's rights issues on a policy perspective, and it was the first time of my life. I would say with it. And then so that was in March, and then in August, I got to be a vice chair at LMUN 2019, also as a vice chair for UN Women. So it was another amazing, my life. And then that was when I would say that I started to really think about women's rights issues very well. And then I think that was also the same year, I think 2019 or was it 2018, I can't remember. My third year was also the same year that I did gender and law, a course in my faculty. So that has opened my mind. That thing is sounding really great and everything. But it was shocking to know that even though the past is much more clear for me now, but I would definitely say that it's not being happening. It's like, oh my god, I just got to somewhere, I spoke to somebody and I was like, oh my god, I'm going to do this or that. No, that wasn't my journey. I just got a lot of finding myself, talking to people, trial and error.
I really need to ask because I'm sure listeners will be curious. You said lots of things, but one thing that really struck me, I really highlighted somewhere in my mind, is when you mentioned the Garden of the Wise. So that shows how important network is, how it's so important to have a set of people around you with like minds who can help, who can assist. So I just want to know more about that Garden of the Wise. I'm so curious, especially the name is sounding very interesting.
So basically, the Multi Society University of Lagos, it's basically a society that is in faculty, and what they do is they walk law students through competitions. So the multi competitions, the mock trials, the client counseling, the LMU and things like that, pretty much. And what the thing beyond the competitions, I would say personally that we are a family. I got in, and then it's notoriously hard to get in. And we have when I was there, we used to have data and everything. In my mind, I'm that. But beyond the fact that we had to go abroad, do things locally as well, competitions and do amazing stuff. It was a push number one for me to develop. I developed so many skills because if you're in society, you don't have to participate in what we do. And so what we did, when I was there, and even now, because I know that they're still pushing on, they're still doing fantastic, even better than when I was there really. And you basically have to participate in external competitions, that's international or local competitions. Then even within the society itself, they usually have internal competitions. So they have internal meetings for I think 6 weeks or so where people all compete against each other and get feedback, and it's just fantastic. And then we have classes where we have lawyers and even fellow students that are also have done these competitions. They come and talk, maybe that they talk about how to do research. We can talk about how to write. We can talk about how to move. We can talk about mock trials, and then also MUNs as well. So the Muslim Society is very strongly affiliated with LMUN. Not everybody that participates in LMUN is of course a Muslim Society member, because LMUN is bigger than Muslim Society. But the truth is, many the people that actually forefathers and foremothers they quote were actually Muslim Society members. These are people that were actually in the Muslim Society, and they had opportunities to go abroad for MUNs, and then they go get back to Nigeria. So in a way, it's kind of a brainchild in school, even though it's bigger than us right now, and it's more of a faculty of law thing. So we got that opportunity to learn on the job. We got to learn skills. It was fantastic, It was amazing. And then beyond that, even the people who look at us outside and they were very serious, competitions, everything, learning, all of that. Beyond that, we were pretty much we are, even up to today, I feel we are a family. A lot of friends up to today, I keep people that, I met through the society, that we work together, either early movement or the society. And, that's being, it's very, very good to find your own garden of the life. And, if you know where like that in university, why don't you create one? You can start from here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like I'm actually very, very excited to hear that there's something like this in a particular school. It's amazing. Yeah. It's priceless, honestly. So I just you mentioned something else about how you were able to meet a mentor and all that. So I just want to know, like, at what point really do you feel an undergraduate needs a mentor in whichever field they're interested in? Because I find that most times, people have, listeners here might be thinking, okay, what if I'm just in year one and I want to have a mentor like Regina Daziza or a mentor like you? So, how could I access people like this? Where would I even start from? People are thinking, so what do you think, what advice can you give at this point?
Okay, so I would say for me, my journey to having a mentor was a bit different from most because, my faculty had a day, my faculty big up the faculty of the University of Lagos, honestly, the opportunity that they have fantastic. I was already a team and I was pretty much matched, so we had like learning day. And one of the projects that, she spent 5% of the MSS, that's Sanmi-Lawal, one of the things that she did then was to actually have like a mentorship scheme for law leaders where they matched us with lawyers who are already like, in the industry.
Wow.
So that's pretty much with my mentor. I guess the funny thing is, right now, I mean, when we look at our career paths and things that, they're different, because she's a corporate lawyer, like, corporate law, Harvard Law grad, and I'm here, talking about international development and women's rights. But the fantastic thing, even beyond that, I think people also say that we're so similar, and the advice that she's giving all the time is so inspiring, my goodness, even in my career path right now. So even like, from 2018 till now, like 3 years later, every single conversation that we have is so as relevant, it's so amazing. It doesn't, say, oh, because I'm a lawyer, you have to do law, whatever. She's just fantastic. But that's an advice. I just wanted to speak about my mentor. But in all honesty, right, I would say that's a very good question that you asked. I would say that nobody's too young or too old to have a mentor. I think there's no stated time to say, oh, I need a mentor. I think when you start to feel like you need a mentor, then you need to listen to you and find your mentor. So I mean, you have to trust in yourself and trust your God. If something is telling you need a mentor, then listen to the thing. And then don't say because you're in year one. I think that being in year one is actually a fantastic time to get a mentor. Like, it's a bit, like, why don't you just avoid making all the mistakes that you could make without having a mentor and, just get right into it, start your life, start your entire career with a mentor. How can that go wrong, in my opinion? So I would say that, you're not too old or you're not too young to have a mentor. And when you have a gut feeling telling you, oh, Titilope heritage, you need a mentor, then I think it's time for you to actually, have a mentor. But one thing I would just say that is underrated is, I think a lot of times when people think about mentors, first of all, they first think of a very formal relationship, oh, we must sit down and you must mentor me. And I think that yes, that's great. That's pretty much traditional mentorship. That's how myself and my mentor started. But I think beyond that, people forget that your friends can be your mentors.
Yes.
Your mentors. You don't even have to have this mentoring relationship to walk up to someone and say, "Oh, hi, David," or "Hi, Shola. I'm thinking about this. What do you think?" Just have conversations with people really is a form of mentorship. I know a lot of people say sometimes and say, that sometimes even going, jumping the gun and actually asking people formally and saying, can you be my mentor in a way, even could be, a bit being discouraged right now because people believe that, you can just reach out and have conversations and let it flow naturally. And sometimes it just flows naturally into mentorship. Do you understand?
Yeah, wow.
Exactly. So, but one thing I would just, advise anybody, that is trying to find a mentor, especially if you're just starting out in law, or even if you're in year 5 and you're thinking, what can a mentor really tell me? Trust me, I think that mentors are amazing, and then, you can go for the traditional sit down, have a mentor, all of these things. But you can go beyond that and just find people that you can have conversations with, people that will give you advice or guide you on your journey. That's really what mentorship is, guidance. It's easy now. You can have a mentor in Europe if you want. You can have a mentor in America, and these people can actually mentor you. So you can reach out to people, maybe be careful about, asking people straight up, especially on social media, can you be my mentor? Because the truth is, people have stuff that's going on in their life. So most times these days, again, as I said earlier, people are not discouraged from saying, can you be my mentor? And rather, having conversations, rather messaging people and saying, oh, hi, I come upon your profile, I can see that you have a background in this, and I'm a first year law student, I'm also thinking about this. Can we have a chat about this? And then, you keep checking up on the person. It's not the one that you've gotten all the value, you're not just saying, and then maybe you don't reach out. You constantly reach out, and maybe you see something like interesting, you find this person and say, oh, hi, this person, I thought this and I thought you find this interesting, or how are you? Happy birthday, Christmas now, this is the time to reach out to people. Exactly. And say like, holidays, you don't even know what it is, but everybody's happy holidays, just checking in, how are you doing, or just updating you on my progress throughout the year, all of just make sure you check up on them, and before you know it, we can morph into a mentorship. And then I think another thing I would say is also very underrated is mentorship schemes. So there are so many mentorship schemes, and it just goes hand in hand with looking at opportunities, right? A very wise mentor or a coach of mine told me, one of the things you can ask people, rather than asking them and saying, can you be my mentor, you can rather ask them, do you have a mentorship scheme? You'd actually see that some of them actually already have a mentorship scheme. So you can also exactly, and then you have organizations like this, there's a legally they naturally do these mentorship schemes. That's also another thing that you also get access to.
And you've mentioned so many key points. In fact, I'm actually going to put some of these resources. You mentioned the Model United Nations, legally engaged, all this. I'm going to put it so like our listeners can actually see them and have the links to them. Thank you so much for this. This is gold, literally. And I just want to thank you for your time, and also to ask, at what moment have you ever had this moment of of doubt, of I would say failure in quotes, where you had to maybe reevaluate some things, you had to go back to the drawing board. And I'm talking about like in your undergraduate time, like when you were so what moment of failure really like pushed you to do better
I definitely, like, one thing I would say is, if you are somebody that cares about yourself, like your self-development, failure and rejection is very inevitable. I checked my results, and I just saw one phrase that I was like, oh my god, I've never gotten this grade in my life before, because I actually had not gotten that grade in my life before. And probably, I think last time I got that kind of grade was probably like nursery school in French or something. I've not gotten that kind of grade in years. Not even something that was it's not math, so why should I get that kind of grade? I was not getting that one. What happened? The final copy or whatever. And then I went back and nothing changed. And I tried again.
Wow.
But you know what? It was all right at the end of the day, right? Up till now, I wish that my hard work was probably reflected in my thoughts, but it didn't happen. And I didn't die. I'm all right now, right? I'm done with, law school. I'm not done with law school. I'm done with undergrad law. And so, it didn't matter because law, in my faculty, you do like 5 minutes courses and you give them grades for your results. But you know what? At the end of the day, something really matter like that, Sha. So that, people talk about it, I couldn't remember. Like, it's not something keeping up at night. So one thing let's learn is, failure and rejection is very inevitable, but you can just go back to the drawing board and do better. So for me, the next semester, I knew that I definitely had a business in the course, and then I went back to the drawing board and I tried my application. And then, I would also say, like, I'm speak to people, right? And also that, that form, that tells you you're not good enough, and you can't get anything from other people. Sometimes engage your classmates, and you never know how that goes as well. Always ask people questions. can I do better? I remember very important to actually reach out to people who have done these things before you. I remember to students as well, I was reading to students that day, and then I was studying, I was doing revising, I was doing reading, funny enough, I was revising, and then things wasn't making sense to me. And then I thought, oh my God, how can I be reading something? And it doesn't make sense to me, right? And I think sometimes as lots of because we have a lot to do, there's a tendency to just forget things and just gloss over things. Like you run it already. You are ready. You don't really understand it, but you are ready. And then I remember that day I called a friend who had done the students before. And I said, no, I'm reading the technique. I don't understand. It's not making sense. I've also read my book for, my notes, but also I wanted something extra, and then it's not making sense. And my friend just told me, my friend said, Google everything. And I Googled everything, and I think and that was one of my best results actually. I got 75.
Wow.
Actually. And and I did really, really well with the exam. Like in the exam paper, I got like 60 something over 60. Like I really, really won in the exam. And how did I know this? I did not think to actually sit down to Google, marxism and everything. Until my friend just said, sit down and Google all these books that are saying me to read. You find some rules online, because you can't read everything. And then you are able to read smartly because you're able to correct. You don't have to make a mistake. Why don't you ask people who have gone before? You can't have mistakes. Then you can call you and say, I made a mistake, but thinking about this is what I should have done better. This is what I did better to avoid making that mistake. So I would just say that's for academic. I would say with the other side, which is like higher development, personal development. Oh my goodness, you are going to get a lot of class. Honestly, you are going to get so much class.
Too much.
The one thing I'll say is, what is for you is for you. And usually, for me, I've seen that, and people might just say, oh, she's saying that just because she didn't get in. But the truth is, I'm very self-aware. I know that I'm not. At the end of the day, I've looked back at certain situations, and I found myself like, thank God I did not get this opportunity because it wasn't for me. Stress, rejections, and failures, and all of these things happen for a reason. And that's just the first thing I would say. And then the second thing I would say is, when you get a rejection or a direction or as an activity or a failure, sometimes you go back to the drawing board and be honest with yourself, be self-aware and know that you might have been good first of all, but maybe you're not just what you were looking for at that time. You have to be very realistic. They can't hire all of us. We spend through things and remembering things and oh my God, I'm so pissed. But they cannot hire all of us, right? So you need to go back to the drawing board. You need to ask questions, compare notes. You need to reach out to people and say, okay, I know that you entered. What did you do differently? I think this is a question I actually always ask when I'm having like a discussion with someone, when I'm trying to apply for something. I always ask that question, like, what do you think you did differently that made you stand out from everybody else? Because this is everybody is great. But sometimes somebody else will just do that. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, how can I be greater? How can I be better than the average Joe, like very smart?
Sometimes
just a little bit of effort that we do to apply for something. So it could be like, for example, sending a portfolio, whatever, nobody else sends a portfolio something, or reaching out to HR and you have to discuss with them before you apply and how to apply. So sometimes those little things that make us stand out, but we will not know because we won't ask questions. Just like this, questions. I thought my name was great. But I remember the day that I said about my friends, two of my friends, Paula and Veronica, we had the Zoom call, and they put my resume like on chest screen, and they were telling me not to behave. I felt very frustrated.
Wow.
I thought it was good. But we didn't ask questions. We wouldn't go back to grade. And then I went back to the training board, and then I saw that sometimes when I see my own resume, I don't laugh at myself that this school is fair. See yourself. And then I was stubborn. What stubborn? I remember someone that told me that my resume could actually comfortably up at the lens. And I actually have friends at school I would tell them, and then I just look at them and just smile. And just say, no, like, first thing, if you want me to stand there, why is it stupid? Nobody will pay your attention, because that's what the application says. So again, not to wait for the exam or to actually learn something mistake, because I mean, on one hand, you don't get it because it's not for you. Sometimes you don't get it because sometimes people are just better than you. And then sometimes you don't get it because I don't know, it's not something right. And that's it. So it's not being very compounded. And then at the back of everything, just know that you will be doing it. And I'm telling myself as well, because I still struggle with this sometimes. Someone telling you an organization that is job, you could. Doesn't mean that, it's nothing personal, first of all.
Yeah.
And then it says nothing about you as a person. You're still amazing, you're still intelligent, you're still fantastic. You still go back and do better. People will tell you, oh, I applied to something 10 times for the keep me. I mean, it's their own right. But sometimes you actually have to apply to things more than once before you get them. And that's just what life is, right? But just don't because try to go back and come back. If you are going to apply for something, then you want to keep applying better. So you want to have job as a strength for it. Get a better position as a fight.
Yeah.
That's the lot.
Yes, I really love what you said about self-awareness and making sure that you're not internalizing failure, because it is not, you are not the failure. It's just a simple task that was failed, but it's not you, literally. Yeah, I really that's so important, because people have this problem of balancing. Okay, did I fail, or am I actually a failure in person? Yeah, so that is awesome, really. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'm personally inspired. I've been writing. If you see where I am right now, just writing down. And I really hope that beyond all this, I feel like women really need to. This is our time to wise up and level up, because there's no better time than this. This is such a good time to be alive. Witnessing women doing amazing things. We've had trailblazers last year, and we have so many more. Yes, and the way I'm even seeing it, I feel so honored and delighted to speak with you today, because I feel like the next time I'm hearing from you, I'm seeing you in headlines. Sisterly HQ, amazing. So thank you so much for all this. I really hope that our listeners would pick one or two things and level up. Yeah. So yeah, to have the recommended resources in the description for this episode, and you could also reach out. I also have your social media links for everyone, so they could have access to it and all. So thank you so much for the access, the time, and wise words. So wise.
So I really had a good time talking with you, and it's really great to work that you're doing. And one thing one thing I know is a lot of women, especially women in law, undergrad and postgrad, they're doing amazing things. Right?
True.
But I think it's always to support. Just feel like there's a platform like yours that this space for ladies in law.
Yeah.
Other people who have done before them. That's really what we need to do. Because the women are great people. Of course, it's not really there. I said that it's fantastic to know that you're doing great.
Thank you.